Hey everyone, it's Jaden and welcome. Today we're talking about Star Trek Discovery Season 4, Episode 1, Kobayashi Maru. Before we get into it, if you don't mind hitting that subscribe button, I really want to keep making these videos and really build out this channel. If you want to see more videos about Star Trek or the Expanse or Picard or eventually the Orville, these are the things I really want to make some more videos on going forward. So that's what I'm going to do. So also to talk about the weird elephant in the world, essentially, Paramount Plus basically removing Star Trek Discovery from Netflix throughout the world because that's exactly where it was before. For everyone else that wasn't inside the U.S. and having to subscribe to these 15 million different streaming services to see one particular show. Yeah, it's kind of shitty. They should have told people beforehand and not like the day before. But I guess they know best in terms of like how they want to distribute their show. So I guess that's just it. But past this point, there's obviously going to be spoilers. If you haven't seen the episode, pause it, come on back, or just strap in and let's fly. There are many things to really talk about in this episode. I would be remiss not to discuss the episode title first, though, of Kobayashi Maru and its importance in the Star Trek fandom. If you didn't know, the Kobayashi Maru is essentially like a no-win scenario simulation that a lot of the cadets within Starfleet Academy have to go through, especially if you're looking to really command a ship. Typically, it's really just to test like their decision-making as a leader to see exactly what they're really going to do. I would also think it kind of tamps down those people who think they're the baddest in town. They are going to be the best, and they're a little overconfident and really reckon them with the fact of like, hey, you could die, or here's some responsibility for actually being in command of all these people, and this is what happened. It was first mentioned in Star Trek II, Wrath of Khan, in passing, just talking about the Kobayashi Maru. And later there was a book by the same name by Juliet Eckler, which really details the Kobayashi Maru for Kirk, Chekhov, Scotty, and Sulu. But yeah, so going into it, now, in the era of a no recap, react, review situation, here are really just my top moments of the show. And I guess I have to start off straight up with, the cadets being spoken to, giving that speech about Starfleet Academy finally opening back up after such a long time, and the debut of Archer Space Dock. This was such a great scene for many reasons. For me personally, I love Enterprise. I think it's probably my favorite series because it was one of the first things I watched after I started watching Discovery, and it really, I think, pushed me even further into watching other Trek shows. And to see the fact they're still like living up to that whole legacy of like Archer, but also hearing Archer's theme, I'm not gonna lie, I had to shed a little tear. And I technically watched that scene twice because I saw the preview earlier in the day and I was like, I gotta watch the show. And then I watched it and I was like, oh my god, not again. But yeah, that's one of my favorite moments. But also in that moment, we also got to meet President Relic. And I don't know how I feel about her yet, but we'll get to her in a second. Next, we're talking about Kaminar. Obviously, last time we saw Kaminar, it was a whole different situation. And I'm not talking about last season when we talked about it in like the last episode of season 3. I mean like back, I believe it's season 1 and season 2, we talked about Kaminar and about the Baul and the Kelpians and the whole Predator and the Bahari and all that jazz. I was really surprised. I think it's wild, and I think that's one of the great premises of having a show which pushes you 1,000 years in the future, because you're able to sit there and switch up so many different things. But yeah, I'm in loving this. Saru being the Grand Elder, Sukal though is just being there and having the time of his life. Overall, within this whole plot of literally trying to get Saru back on the ship, I really do appreciate Sukal being like, hey, you've taken care of me, you've done a lot for me, I really appreciate that, but you don't have to just be here. You are here, you're not going anywhere, but you should also go back out there because that's something that you want, that's something that you crave for your life, so go ahead and do it. And I completely agree. And the fact that he was getting permission from Sukal, so I expect to see Saru hopefully coming back, I would say next episode. Wow, what an episode to come back on too. The next moment's going to be the spinning spaceship, the whole entire situation with the space station. I'll be honest, it felt like a mission to be a mission. If I'm being honest, there's two different reasons, but it just seemed like just an overall mission to test Burnham, and I don't know how I like that because I don't think it really serviced like the plot completely. I don't know, I just feel like it was really off-putting, but I will say it was a top moment because like we spent most of the episode there. So we got to see Burnham pilot, we got to see Burnham command. I didn't expect the shields to expand to that type of height. The whole entire ship is spinning. If we're being honest, the entire ship of being upside down, everything upside down, the shots and everything like that, it was really cool. It was really cool, but would it was very disorienting. It didn't have me hooked completely because I was like, I am getting dizzy. Did y'all cut 2 minutes? Because why are these people standing around? And then it started blowing up, and then the rocks and methane gas and all that jazz started happening, and then everyone almost died. But I digress. I would say another moment was really just the overall interactions between Relic and Burnham. Burnham really doesn't trust Relic, and I think it's because she's never really been in a position of being a captain. I stand by the whole firm belief that Starfleet is a very political organization, and even though they haven't had time for politics in the past couple of years, especially with the burn happening like 5 months, 80 years ago, but now like everything getting back set up and within the past 5 months, Burnham's now really experiencing what it is to be a captain and having to deal with all of these high-ranking dignitaries and as such. So when Relic said she's coming on the ship and she was really just there to really evaluate her, I was like, I don't really like you. I really don't. And then it was just questioning certain decisions that Burnham was making. And at the end, really towards the end of their whole entire like arc, it was really just a question of like, what are you doing this for? Like, you are not ready. Yes, you have the experience, but you value the lives of everyone else entirely too much for me to even offer you the position of being great. And if you really want to be at this point of leadership and be over here, then, and you want to keep advancing, you're going to need to accept that. And I think this is a classic trope for honestly a lot of captains. They have like little things going for them. And I think as we've seen throughout the entire series that Burnham, her biggest problem has to be the fact that she is a low-key reckless and she thinks she's right all the time. And I don't know how to sit there and address that or fix that. If there's one thing that I think the show needs to fix, it is kind of like humbling her down and making sure she remembers the lessons that she learns, right? Not that does not discount the fact that she has earned every position that she has gotten, but just something around here is I hope that this season really takes place and really pushes her into that era of like, hey, I need to recognize that I'm not all that and that I can't do everything. Because to some extent, she's kind of Superwoman. I mean, it's kind of the truth. That's kind of leading back to the Kobayashi Maru statement, essentially that there is a no-win scenario, and that's the point of that's being taught in Starfleet Academy. I don't think Burnham went to Starfleet because she learned in the Vulcan sciences and all that jazz. So I don't think she actually went down the whole Starfleet Academy and had that experience, but I don't think she's really ever been humbled enough to be like, hey, I can't win this, because she's always is swinging on that pendulum a little strong, and she's gotten very lucky. She may say that luck is all that preparation. That's true. Luck is preparation, but like, damn, if you can't miss out on some of those things that are happening to you. And I would say, honestly, the moment was of the entire series was just seeing Quajon. Quajon's such a pretty place. It's such a pretty planet. And the fact that like Booker being there, the fact that Booker being there to sit there and support his nephew and his right to become a man, it was really amazing. I don't know, I just thought that was cool, especially since like last season we kind of dealt with a lot of like their turmoil with the Emerald Chain and all that jazz. But then the gravity wells started happening, and honestly, when I saw that first planet started like exploding, I was like, oh no. And it is what happened. Quajon is gone. And dang, Booker is literally, I believe, the last Quajon at this point. And I don't know what to say about that, but I do think that sets up a good plot. But on the other hand, I do think it's one of those things I've had to sit there and accept with Discovery is that, yeah, this is a story-based television show. I 100% stand by that. And I think the more I've been watching more other versions of Trek and other shows, the fact that they're not all like linear, that's always been like a little thing for me of like, oh, okay, now I'm starting to get why people have issues with the show. And I think what they'll be looking for, hopefully getting more of, is probably they'll find in like Strange New Worlds. But with this show, I do kind of wish like the world ending plots weren't really a thing all the time. Some other things to really note about the show overall, I would say the prettiest Star Trek has ever been. Say what you want about the show, you cannot deny the fact of how pretty, how beautiful, how well done this show is. The butterfly people doing butterfly things, that's cool. Didn't see that happening. Um, it was really interesting seeing them do that. I just know that you wouldn't be able to have that in a classic track, and it just was so cool to sit there and watch. I would also say like the shots in the damaged space station, like I said, were cool but very disorienting. Um, this doesn't really feel like a good first episode, right? And technically speaking, to me, because of the reset of the show from last season, this is technically, in my opinion, like the second season of the show. Like, because I truly believe the show should have started in the future at this point. It should not have started in the past its prologue type of situation. It should have started straight up in the future, like very far off, where you couldn't deal with any of this, or at least establish that within that first season one and skip all the way through to put us in the future where we are now. And it was not that strong of an episode, if I'm being honest. It wasn't as groundbreaking. I think back to the season 3 episode 1 and season 3 episode 2 of those being like very like, oh my god, this is so cool, didn't see this coming, this is great type of shows. Even season 1 episode 1, that was amazing. So this really didn't hit me with a banger. This was more like, okay, that's cool. The gravity well thing, it's really reminded me of Voyager. I don't know, I feel like probably the writers, whoever's on the writer, I think they have an homage to Voyager, because some of these plot lines are feeling like, feel like we did this already, you know? And it's just like a twist on like certain things that have happened on Voyager. So this gravity well thing, that's all I kept thinking of when I saw that. Overall though, with Tilly and some of the other characters and everything like that, I hope that with Tilly's story, it's gonna really push her in directions that I didn't see, because we've already seen her play like Killy. We've already seen her basically hit every single thing she really wanted to do, being number one, being the captain essentially for like a quick second. Like, she has been through the ringer as an ensign, and she's earned her promotion. But at the same time, it's like, what does she want to do next? Like, maybe it's a situation that she wants to settle down. Maybe she wants to get her own ship. You know, that's the type of situation I really wonder with for Tilly. And for Hugh and Gray and Adira and them making all the body and stuff like that. Here's the thing. If Hugh's going to make a body for Gray, this could be like something that changes Trill society forever. And I really think it's one of those things of like, yeah, we could do it, but should we really do it? And that's all I'm getting from this entire story. And I wonder where it's going to go, to be honest. And Owasakun and Kyla, love them like I've always loved. They're just really good. I'm happy that we're getting highlights onto other characters besides like 4 people and 3 different storylines somewhere else. But yeah, that's kind of where I see this. I do think that at first I thought that Relic was going to be an antagonist, but I'm realizing like she's probably the right person to truly push Burnham and really change the perspective that Burnham has. And I hope that with Saru coming back to the ship, it really does push her in a direction to be that great captain, so that people can really see and realize who she really is. But yeah, what are your real thoughts on this show? But yeah, that's kind of the video today. You know, I'll catch y'all next week. Just let me know in the comments what you think. You know, like, comment, subscribe, you know, all that jazz. But I'm gonna go. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. Let me know how you feel. Bye.